Hello everyone, welcome to StraightA. Dawson here, back on another video here today, and we are recapping NFL Week 12 results and all that good stuff. And I bet you're thinking, because I'm thinking it, man, where was predictions? Where was fantasy football? And guess what? Catch Up Wednesday will be featuring both those videos because I just really couldn't get that video out. I don't know. I've been so unmotivated recently, guys, and I apologize for that. It's just been uphill mental battle for me to get through and actually record these videos. I do enjoy football, I still watch football, I'm still doing everything actively, but putting together the work behind the scenes, once I get home from work, once I get home from doing a bunch, it's been one thing after another. It feels like a holiday season's here, first holiday season away from home. So I think it's getting to me a little bit, but I feel good. I seriously am all right. So if anybody is listening to this, I am all good. Just got to get through that mental blockade. So we're going to still talk about some football because recaps are still one of my favorite things to do, and I debated on even pushing back recaps, but I don't want to sacrifice recaps at the very least. This is one of my favorite parts of the week, especially at this point in the season when my fantasy football career in some ways are over, in some ways still thriving. So we'll go over some recap stuff in the next day or tomorrow with both fantasy football and predictions, hopefully with everything then being caught up, so you'll see all the results live then, and then we'll go into Thursday morning week 13 predictions. That's the plan at least, so we'll hope for it, cross our fingers on that one. Starting off with the Snowmageddon game of the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. Both these teams really is a run game. Najee and Jaylen Warren were worse than what Nick Chubb and Jerome Ford were bringing. So at the end of the day, it's really what it came down to. And honestly, both people were still passing decently effectively. They were just doing shorter passes. Russell Wilson, though, made some longer range passes to some of his receivers. Very, very impressive. So good on these teams for putting up a pretty impressive and fun game in the snow. Jameis Winston is probably the icon of the league right now. I love him, even though he, again, didn't play amazing, obviously, because of the snow. He was still so much fun. I mean, come on, man. You cannot hate Jameis Winston at all. Jameis Winston. Browns pick up a win. I mean, it's a divisional game. People are going to blow this up and be like, are the Steelers cooked? No, it's a divisional game. The Browns have a decent team. It seems like the Pittsburgh always, has these close games with divisional rivals. Just live with it, move forward, and it'll be fine. Steelers are just going to be just fine. Tennessee beating the Houston Texans. This one, again, used the divisional matchup a little bit in this direction as well. But the Houston Texans did not look good in this matchup. I'm not going to lie. This seems like the biggest fall from grace matchup. And against a team that, again, hasn't really typically competed in the past. Now, granted, Will Levis had a great game. Tony Pollard had a great game. Calvin Ridley had a great game. Nick Westbrook had a good game. So it's very weird. Defense for the Tennessee Titans probably played one of the best they did all season. Despite, the Houston Texans, again, having a pretty well-rounded team. C.J. Stroud, I don't think he's cooked. People are overreacting online. C.J. Stroud is just fine. He's having a little bit of a sophomore slump. It's not like they're all the way there, but he's still putting up the stats, but he's struggling a little bit. Run game through Joe Mixon, sometimes a struggle. We see the peaks and valleys with Joe Mixon, it seems like. Nico Collins is back. Big breath of fresh air for C.J. Stroud for sure. Tank Dell still getting involved pretty well. Other than that, not too much there. The defense, though, I will say Houston Texans still have a very, very strong defense. It's just, again, was being outplayed in the secondary. I mean, this was a pass-heavy game. I guess, Tony Pollard really made it, kind of solidified the deal, honestly. But, I mean, Will Levis versus C.J. Stroud, and Will Levis outplayed C.J. Stroud, straight and to the point. Will Levis, even though when he got sacked and everything, he still made some big plays. Big props to him. The Houston Texans, again, didn't look great in this. I'm curious to see how they regroup from here. They're 7-5 now. I think they're 2 losses in a row. So we'll see. Tennessee Titans, I'm not saying they're going to be picking up momentum, but maybe they're not as horrid as I thought, so maybe another game or two will kind of convince me in that direction. Vikings-Bears, another divisional matchup. Good matchup for Caleb Williams. He played well. Again, another one of those peak and valleys kind of games for him. Sam Darnold looking back in form against a good defense. Granted, the Bears defense has looked worse in weeks, so we'll see how they go going forward. Aaron Jones, good, very good run game. One of his better games this season. Jordan Addison, finally having these his peak games. He will have like 3 of these throughout the season. I think this is the second one. T.J. Hawkinson, very important back for Sam Darnold. So awesome that this offensive weapons, even without J.J., is like going very, very well. So if even J.J. gets freaking locked down, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson can definitely pick up the slack there. Defensively, Vikings still look like a pretty good unit. Not as great as they did look in the beginning of the season in their stretch, but still pretty dang good. Caleb Williams threw the ball a ton. I mean, it's pretty much they were required to because, again, they were playing so much from behind, but they were doing pretty well. Caleb was making some good reads, making some good throws. Can't fault him here. It was a very good game from the rookie. DJ Moore was the big standout, but Keenan Allen also had some pretty good game. Cole Kmet was involved, Roma Dunze. I'm curious how this will go again, especially in the future, especially next year, how the weapons will kind of get dispersed out. Because, I mean, this is a non-sustainable weapon group of Roma Dunze, Cole Kmet, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore. Even if you add DeAndre Swift in there, it's going to be very, very curious to see who gets all the love in the future. Actually, I don't know if any of those guys need to be re-signed on the offseason, so I'll be curious. Bears defense, again, like I said, has been worse lately, but they played fine against the Vikings. Good game. Good stuff. One of the most boring games turns into the most exciting things in the world because the fourth quarter was literally the most exciting thing because the Cowboys defense and special teams were just actually kicking the ass of the Washington Commanders. Meanwhile, the Washington Commanders special teams was losing the game. So very good game by Cooper Rush, actually showcasing that he's got some talent to him. He's not just a bum. He's actually doing pretty decently well. Rico Dowdle, efficient. CeeDee Lamb, very good. Luke Shoemaker when Jake Ferguson's out, not too bad of a tight end option. Defense from the Cowboys having a spark from what they had last year. Liked seeing it. Maybe the Cowboys can bring something back. Maybe not for a playoff run, but definitely maybe for some hope in the future. Jane Daniels, rougher game, but he's still looking all right. You know, I think he's still getting the groove of things. Not playing to the top of his abilities, but not too bad at all. Austin Eckler, unfortunately, didn't get many opportunities. Again, it was just very inefficient on the ground, so Jane Daniels had to really make do with what he could in the air. Terry McLaurin, really inflated stats here. 87-yard pass near the end of the game, so really he had 4 receptions for like 20 yards. Very, very strange game for him. Zach Ertz, very crucial for those nice little 10-yard gains. Been pretty good with him and Jaden Daniels. Defensively, Commanders definitely got outplayed. Just straight to the point. Everything outside of Jaden Daniels and I guess maybe Terry McLaurin's one play and Zach Ertz. The Washington Commanders got outplayed. Honestly, when I saw them get that last minute touchdown and before they missed the extra point, I was thinking, is Washington actually about to get away with a fucking horrid game? They didn't. Cowboys did punish them. Cowboys actually look pretty good. Can't really fault them there. Meanwhile, we have the resurrection of the Dolphins. They are back. Patriots didn't look too great, but they didn't look too bad. Drake May, typical game there. Antonio Gibson didn't play or was the most efficient running back over Ramondre this time. They really couldn't get anything going on the ground, so they really just slinging it everywhere. Austin Hooper had a good play for the end zone. Otherwise, really not too much talk about the defense for Patriots. Again, not putting up the stats, but it was playing all right for a little bit until you just realize that Jalen Waddle was just the guy. Tua for 4 touchdowns, 317, very, very good. Devon Achane, not efficient on the ground, but definitely in the air, was getting some love with 2 touchdowns in the air. Jalen Waddle, it was his game. Tyreek Hill was being covered and boxed in quite a bit. Patriots do that quite a bit to Tyreek Hill. So very, very good game from them. Dolphins are back, baby. The defense has been playing way better than they were last year. The Dolphins, if their record was any better, would be a very, very strong contender for the playoffs right now. But 5-6 is a tough hole to dig yourself out of, especially with a tough division. So we'll see. Well, I say tough division, but yeah, 2 teams that are pretty damn bad right now. Meanwhile, we have almost a miracle game. When I was watching this, and I wasn't watching this till like the second half. And of course I watched the highlights back. But when I was like live watching and I saw the score of the Panthers basically being 20-9, I was like, Panthers aren't like that far behind. Then all of a sudden I saw something in the fourth quarter and I swapped over to it that the Panthers were like ahead or like were tied. Or like sort of going like in a good spot to tie up the game, and I was thinking, "Holy crap!" And then it dawned on me, like for that split second, I was like, "The Panthers could do this." And of course, they didn't go for 2 or anything. So the Chiefs just got the opportunity, drove down the field. Patrick Mahomes did Patrick Mahomes stuff. So like, dang, it was like for a split second, the Panthers almost did the miracle run. But they played damn well from what I saw. When I went back and watched this, Bryce Young looked damn good against a great defense, and I didn't think the defense looked like they played bad for the Chiefs. So. It's very curious. Patrick Mahomes, of course, though, actually having a little bit of a resurgence game, too. I should note that Patrick Mahomes did look probably one of his best games of the season so far. Kareem Hunt, very efficient as always. Noah Gray, finding the end zone twice over Travis Kelce. Come on, Taylor Swift. The fuck you doing? Defensively, like I said, the Chiefs played well, it looked like, but they just could not contain Bryce Young. Even Chuba Hubbard was all right on the ground. You would think this would be like a 2.8 average game for him. But no, Bryce Young was killing it, too, making some big plays. going down the field, driving it down. Special teams for the Panthers also doing very, very good. They were bringing out all the stops, and big respect to the Panthers. They really fought for this win, and it would have been a damn funniest thing, dude. David Moore, number one receiver. Adam Thielen back involved a little bit, about 70% of the snaps, I believe. So we'll see him get more involved and maybe make that connection with Bryce Young back. Panthers defense played out of their mind. Got to give them some credit. Patrick Mahomes had to make some big plays against this team. They thought it was going to be a cakewalk. This was a trap game in the making. So Chiefs nearly get out, and honestly, this shows how much frauds they are this season. Meanwhile, Bucks, Giants, not too much to talk about here. Baker looked good. Mike Evans is back and actually looking like the main target. Rachaad White and Bucky Irvin still splitting, but Bucky still looks better. Bucky's now getting a lot more receiving work, too. That's a big note to make. Defensively, the Bucks are fine. They're good. They played against the Giants is what I'll say. Meanwhile, Tommy DeVito could be worse, could be better is all I'll say. I think that he looked fine. He did fine. But he just didn't do it. They didn't seem like they trust him with the play calling. So I'm very curious to see how that will go going forward. I think Tommy DeVito got hurt too, didn't he? So I'm very curious to see how that will end up. Tyrone Tracy, not as explosive as he used to be. Hopefully he's not just a one-hit miracle type guy. Hopefully we see him get more involved. But we'll see how Tyrone Tracy goes in the future. I think he looks explosive. I think he's fine. I think he'll be all right in the future. Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson still splitting the targets there, but with Tommy DeVito currently on there, don't see that really getting much better than just targets. Defensively, Giants, they're just looking worse and worse. Nothing too much to note there. Meanwhile, Lions actually having a modest game against the Colts. Colts actually played decently well against them on defense. Colts on offense were abysmal, but that's beside the point. Jahmyr Gibbs, definitely his game. David Montgomery had a little bit of injury scare, so everything was kind of going Jahmyr Gibbs. I think Montgomery's fine. Jahmyr Gibbs, and he looked awesome, though, when he was out there. I think this is the great thing about them is that both these guys are definitely capable of being the solo running back, especially in short doses of like a couple games at a time, but they work better as a tandem, 100%, at least in long-run things. I know everybody's going to see this and say Jahmyr Gibbs needs to be the sole back. No, dude, listen, when you see Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery go the way they do together, it's just something of a miracle work. But granted, what's strong about this running game too is that both of them can be the sole back when needed. So very, very good run game here. Jameson Williams also doing awesome work. Amon-Ra still staying involved across the board. The offense is still kicking some ass. Detroit Lions on defense, again, was some more boring game. They really didn't get to Anthony Richardson at all. And the secondary really didn't pick him off any. They didn't really do anything to really make Anthony Richardson mess up. Anthony Richardson just kind of did that himself, to be honest with you. So he just kind of ran the whole time. Jonathan Taylor also didn't really do much. Michael Pittman was the main target for once, mostly because Anthony Richardson couldn't make throws down the fucking field. So, Michael Pittman was that slot guy, so very good. Defensively, like I said, the Colts played out of their minds against the Lions here, keeping them in the game. But, I mean, gosh, the offense couldn't do anything. If this offense for the Colts actually could move the ball down the field, this could have been an interesting game. Broncos, Raiders. Broncos destroyed the Raiders. I mean, the score looks better than it should be but the Broncos actually just looked like they tore down the Raiders across the board. The run game was not really existent, but Bo Nix was just making good plays. And granted, he was stopped multiple times in the beginning with incompletions, but then he just got a light on fire there. Raiders were up quite a bit for the first half, I think, but it never felt like it was their game. It always felt like a almost Broncos-Chiefs game of Broncos playing up to the Chiefs and trying to catch up to the Chiefs. It felt like the Raiders were always playing catch up to the Broncos, even though they were in the lead. It just felt very, very strange. Courtland Sutton, absolute beast. Devon Bailey, fucking GOAT. Broncos defense, again, probably one of the best in the league. Top 5 defense in this league. Raiders, to their credit, though, did not play awful. Desmond Ridder came in after Gardner Minshew got hurt. If Desmond Ridder's the starter for us this season, it's going to be a long road for you Raider fans. Running-wise, sure, it existed. Amir Abdullah was mostly used in the air, so he caught a touchdown pass. Brock Bowers really didn't get as much love as Jacoby Myers this game. They actually were throwing the ball downfield a little bit. Brock Bowers actually being covered. They really prioritized the Brock Bowers coverage here. Raiders on defense, absolutely abysmal. Nothing to really note there. Seahawks, Cardinals, another boring game. Cardinals didn't play well. Seahawks kind of played all right. He did Kyler things. The run game was non-existent. James Conner literally got fucking 7 carries for 8 yards. Trey McBride got the targets and the yards, but never found the end zone. No one really found the end zone. MHJ really just getting involved every now and then, but you don't really see him very often, and it's never going to be a good sign for him. Cardinals on defense, they actually did play pretty good against Seahawks, but mostly because of Seahawks' sloppy offensive line play. Geno Smith, good stats on paper, but he just did not look good. The offensive line kept on really not allowing allowing so much pressure on him. Kenneth Walker didn't get much in terms of average yards. JSN was the guy, but it was like barely. DK Metcalf was just being covered. Again, the Cardinals defense kind of across the board just made the Seahawks game a problem. Good for them. Seahawks on defense, pretty good. 2.5 sacks for Leonard Williams. Good for you, man. I guess the offensive line for the Cardinals also let up a lot, but Kyler Murray makes it look like less, I guess. But, oh well. Seahawks do take the win eventually, though. Packers without Brock Purdy. This is a testament to Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy makes his offense go at all, and Brandon Allen just looked awful out there. I mean, he is a fundamental backup QB, and Brock Purdy showcases that he is not a backup QB. He actually makes that offense purr a little bit. George Kittle made some big plays. Chris McCaffrey does not look the same right now with that offensive line without Trent Williams. Juwan Jennings really tried to do what he could, but not too much. Debo is literally non-existent. 49ers defense is struggling big. Packers, from the very get-go, Josh Jacobs game. Doesn't matter. Jordan Love made some plays. He ran a little bit, but he just, and I say ran as in scrambled, like in the pocket. But like it was Josh Jacobs' game. Jordan Love did what he needed to drive the ball downfield, but it was pretty much over by the second half, or by the start of the second half. Weapons across the board all being used. Christian Watson had a pretty good game, I believe. No, it was not. Wow, I literally said that as he has 0 across the board. I thought that was a Christian Watson game for some reason. Sometimes these receivers just kind of flicker through my mind like as pretty much the same across the board because they all pretty much get 3, 4, 5 targets, whatever, the same. So whatever. Defensively, Packers pretty good. I mean, I don't really know what to say when Brandon Allen is literally sucking eggs. Eagles pretty much had control of this game from the get-go. Rams tried to do some like vitalization thing, but when literally Saquon Barkley runs for 255 yards and 2 touchdowns. You can't do much, man. It was Saquon's game. It was Josh Jacobs and Saquon week. This was just brutality. The Rams got ran the fuck up on, and like they just never had control of the game. Like from the very get-go, when they got behind, it was over. As soon as they were 1 score behind, it was just over. AJ Brown even just kind of twisting the knife in the wound there. Across the board, defensively, Eagles also just kept on pressuring Matthew Stafford. Now this wasn't really the Rams' fault; it was just game script fault. Kyron Williams basically phased out by the second half, more like maybe the fourth quarter. Matthew Stafford made some big plays of Puka. Puka's the clear number 1 there. Cooper Kupp's more of the slot guy who's finding the end zone. But man, the Rams got obliterated. And even it was only 17 points, but they got obliterated. Defensively, they couldn't do anything. It was not pretty. Ravens Chargers, good, solid fucking game. Watching this on the replay because I didn't get to watch it live. Very good game. Lamar, solid, fundamental game. Derrick Henry, typical fun running back type game. Zay Flowers made some good plays. Mark Andrews was involved quite a bit with targets. Very, very awesome stuff. Ravens defense, not playing the best recently, but they definitely got the sacks there. 4 across the board there. Chargers, though, played very well offensively, mostly kind of in Justin Herbert's play. This is a lot of credit goes to Justin Herbert for keeping him in this game. Game script was really against Chargers here, but Justin Herbert kept it alive, made some good plays, made some good runs, made some good throws. Gus Edwards came in for J.K. Dobbins as J.K. Dobbins got hurt. Gus Edwards was not very efficient from there. That's really what sealed the deal was when J.K. went out and Gus was not efficient. Really sealed the deal. Ladd McConkey, clear number 1 guy there right now. Will Dissly kind of making the number 2 effort, but Ladd McConkey is the guy in Los Angeles. Defensively, the Chargers, not very great. Like I said, a lot of the work was on the offense for Justin Herbert here. Very good game by those 2 teams. I'm glad to see the Chargers get down a loss, though, so maybe the Broncos can kind of slip in, so who knows. We'll see in the future, though, guys. Hope you all did enjoy the video. I'll see y'all tomorrow for the catch-up videos.